Okay, good morning, dear students. Can you hear me? Please text me quickly so that I can start addressing you at the earliest. If I'm audible to you, please do write text me yes. Okay, so Sadvika, thank you so much for your confirmation. So, dear students, before I begin today's lesson, thank you, Harshit. Thank you, Tanvi, Guneshwar. Thank you so much. Okay, so before we begin today's lesson, let me just inform you that every day before you come to YouTube to attend my class, please register your attendance first. So, how to give attendance? I shall make an attendance sheet for you in the Google Classroom, right? And you have to click on the Google Classroom attachment, which is in Google Forms, and you have to select your names there. Okay, you have to select your just your names there in the Google Forms and submit the form. Then your attendance will be automatically recorded and it will come to me, right? So please do it on a regular basis, everyday basis. Okay. So before you come to YouTube, first go to the Google Classroom app, and then you from the attachment you select the Google Forms, then open the form, select your names, and then you submit the form. Your attendance every day will be automatically recorded in this manner. Okay, so I shall make the attendance for you today after the class gets over. So after the class gets over, 10 minutes after the class, 10 to 15 minutes after the class gets over, or might be today, as I didn't make yet. So what you can do is, whenever you get time today, okay, you please go to classroom. It takes hardly 1 minute to complete the procedure. Okay, it takes hardly 1 minute, 1 to 2 minutes maximum. If your net is awfully slow, in that case you might take 2 to 3 minutes, but otherwise it is supposed to take just 1 minute, right? So go to classroom, give your attendance, then come to YouTube, attend the lecture on YouTube every day. Okay, and today I shall let you know when the attendance form is ready on Google Classroom. I shall let you know with the text. Then immediately go to Google Classroom. Please give your attendance. Okay, so that's how we shall go every day. Okay, before you join YouTube, you need to go to the Classroom app and then register your attendance there by clicking on the attachment which is in the Google Forms. Right, you select your name and then you submit it. Okay, dear students. So before we begin our lesson today, first of all, a very quick glance at the syllabus that we are going to have this academic session 21-22. Okay, so here you are. Let me just explain for you here very quickly. I shall explain your class 12. Your class 12 syllabus is like the question pattern and all will be the same as what you wrote in class 11 final examination. Okay, the question number 1 and 2 will be based on multiple choice questions, like exactly like what you wrote in class 11 exam. Okay, so both the passages will comprise of 10 marks each. That is a total of 20 marks will be given to both the reading texts. Okay, and then as I told you before as well in class 11, like your part A will comprise of objective type questions and part B will comprise of all the subjective type questions. Okay, so part A will comprise of objective type, means MCQ type questions. Okay, all the part A will comprise of multiple choice questions, and multiple choice questions here include two reading passages in question number 1 and 2. Then you shall have in question number 3 multiple choice questions from your Flamingo and Vistas. Let me explain you what are Flamingo and Vista all about. Flamingo is your English textbook and Vistas is your supplementary reader. Okay, so if you do not have the physical book with you, you can download from NCERT website. I can send you the PDF copy after the class gets over. Okay, so you can go through the e-text, or you can say the soft copy of these two books until and unless your physical books are available. Okay, printed copies are available, right? So question number 3 will comprise of multiple choice questions from Flamingo and Vistas, right? and any 2 out of 3 extracts to be done. So it means that you'll be given 2 extracts of 4 marks each, one from Flamingo, another from Vistas, and you need to attend all the 2 questions, two extracts actually. Okay. Then question number 4 will comprise of again multiple choice questions based on poetry. Okay, poetry. So each extract will comprise of 4 marks of 4 questions and 4 marks as well. Okay, 4 questions and 4 marks as well. And then question number 5 will comprise of multiple choice questions from Flamingo and Vista. There will be 8 multiple choice questions, 8 questions total. So that's all about part A. Okay, exactly the same pattern as you wrote in class 11 English exam. That is why I'm not explaining much, the same only. Then part B is subjective questions like starting from 2 marks down to 5 marks. Okay. So first will be notice. So in your syllabus, there is a writing task called notice, advertisement, and poster. So there will be only any one of these. Okay, there will be 2 questions out of which you've got to answer. Either you attempt a notice or you attempt advertisement or poster. Right. So total of 3 marks awarded, and then short writing task. Second question from writing task will be formal or informal invitation and reply also. Okay, so you've got to learn notice writing, advertisement, poster, formal and informal invitation in the short composition. Short composition means in short marks. Okay, out of 3 marks, in the 3 mark category you need to you need to prepare notice, either notice or advertisement or poster, whichever you think comfortable to you, you can prepare. Okay. And then the next, as I told you, is your formal or informal invitation and reply. And next is long type of question, long type of writing task. So what comes in long type of writing task? In the long type of writing task comes verbal, visual input. Okay, verbal or visual input. Letter type includes job application. See what kind of letters you have to learn. You have to learn job application, letters to the editor. Letters to editor you have done in class 10 as well. Okay, so it won't be a problem for you. Then business or official letters you've got to learn. Okay, business or official letters like making inquiries, registering complaints, asking for and giving information, all this, placing orders, sending replies. Okay, so I shall let you know. I shall. It is there already on my website, so I shall send you the link. Then you can practice this. Next is article or debate or speech or report writing. Okay, so you have to practice any 2 of these, like either you practice article debate or you practice speech report writing. Okay, so they are 5 marks each. So official letter, formal letters, and article debate will comprise of 10 marks, that is 5 marks each. Then literature you will have 5 short answer type of 2 marks each. Then you shall have 2 short answer type questions, and then lastly question number 7 and 8. Lastly, what you will get? You will get one long answer type question from Flamingo and another from Vistas. Okay, of 5 marks each. Right. So that's all about the syllabus in brief, dear students. And as I told you, Flamingo is your textbook as well as Vistas. Okay. So till you get your printing book, you can go through the PDF of these 2 books, right? So that's all about the syllabus in brief, dear students. Now today we are going to begin our first lesson from Flamingo. Okay, so remember you have got 2 books, Flamingo and Vistas. The first book that I am going to teach you today from is called the last lesson. Okay, the first lesson of your syllabus is the last lesson. Okay, so first lesson, the name of the first lesson of your syllabus is the last lesson. It's very funny. Okay, anyway, let's find out. So let's read something about Alphonse Daudet. Alphonse Daudet was a French novelist and short story writer. The last lesson is set in the days of the Franco-Prussian War, 1870 to 1871, in which France was defeated by Prussia, led by Bismarck. Okay, so this story is related to Franco-Prussian War. Franco-Prussian War was fought in the year 1870-1871, in which France was defeated by Prussia. Okay, In this, France was defeated by Prussia. Okay, led by Bismarck. So Prussia then consisted of Prussia, no longer there of course, but Prussia then consisted of what now are the nations of Germany, Poland, and parts of Austria. So Germany, Poland, and parts of Austria comprised of Prussia earlier. Okay, in this story, the French districts of Alsace and Lorraine had passed into Prussian hands. Read the story to find out what effects this had on life at school. Okay. So, dear students, in this lesson, we shall come to know about about uh, French districts of Alsace and Lorraine. What happens when Alsace and Lorraine districts have gone in the hands of Prussia or in the hands of, you can say, Germany? Then French language the French language was suspended. French language was suspended actually. Okay, means French language would not be taught in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine from that time onwards. Why? Because Alsace, the districts of Alsace and Lorraine of France have gone in the hands of Germany. Okay, therefore German language will only be taught. Now, can you imagine what kind of an impact will it have in the minds of the French people because their language has been snatched from them. They cannot learn lessons in their own mother tongue. Okay, that is why the entire atmosphere has become very sad. Let's find out what happens as a result of the transfer of power from the French government to the German government. Okay, let's find out, dear students. So okay, so I started for school very late that morning and was in great dread of of a scolding, especially because M. Hamill had said that he would question us on participles, and I did not know the first word about them. Okay, so here the narrator is the little boy called um, his name is what is his name? His name is similar to the country, uh, France. Okay, so his name is France. Similar to the name of the country, uh, France. His name is France. So the boy who is narrating this story is a teenaged boy who is called France, okay, which is similar to his own country, France, okay, Franz, France. So he is narrating us this story. It's a first person narrative. You see, it started with I. So he said on that day he started for school very late in the morning, and he was as he started late, so he was very much like tensed about the fact that M. Hamel would certainly ask him some questions on participles, questions on French grammar, that is, on participles. And the narrator, that is France, says that he did not know the first word about the participles. So that is why France appeared to be very much tensed because, number one, he has started late for the school that morning, and secondly, on that day his French teacher, his name is Mr. M. Hamel, so he would ask France some questions and participles about which France has no knowledge, right? That is the reason why he was very tensed. For a moment I thought of running away and spending the day out of doors. It was so warm, so bright, the birds were chirping at the edge of the woods, and in the open field back of the sawmill, the Prussian soldiers were drilling. So, as it was already late, Franz had something in his mind. He thought of bunking the class on that day. He thought of bunking the class and spending time in the lap of nature, in the company of the birds and the trees and all that. Okay, and of course, Prussian soldiers, the German soldiers were also drilling okay, outside. Okay, so he thought of catching a glimpse of all these outside beauties instead of attending class. Initially, he thought like this. It was all much more tempting than the rules for participants, but I had the strength to resist and hurried off to school. Okay, so he says that. Like outside view of the birds chirping, then it's open field, sawmill, and then Prussian soldiers. You know, they were these views were more charming, more exciting than the rules of participle. But somehow he had managed himself to resist himself, and then he started going to school. He thought, no, it's all right. I need to go to school. I should not bunk the school. This is what he thought. That is why he started hurrying off for the school. Next, when I passed the town hall, there was a crowd in front of the bulletin board. When I passed the town hall, there was a crowd in front of the bulletin board. For the last 2 years, all our bad news had come there. The lost battles, the draft, the orders of the commanding officer, and I thought to myself without stopping, what can be the matter now? What can be the matter now? So when the narrator, the small boy, the teenage boy Franz, when he was passing through the town hall, there was a huge crowd actually, okay, in front of the bulletin board. Dear students, if you don't know, bulletin board is something like a notice board. Like the villagers used to see for any kind of new information, because that time there was no circulation of newspaper and all that. So people used to assemble somewhere in a place, okay, near the town hall, and they used to see the latest news, latest information about the country or about their locality on the bulletin board. So when Franz was approaching school, on the way there was a crowd in front of the town hall, in front of the bulletin board, and the Franz became curious to know what the crowd was all about. What does the what is written on the bullet board? So he came forward to know what is written there. Okay, for the last 2 years, all our bad news had come from there. The lost battles, the draft, the orders of the commanding officer, and I thought to myself without stopping, what can be the matter now? So he said, now you can say, what can be the matter now? So he said, for the last 2 years, all the bad news was pasted on the bulletin board. Okay, like they lost the battle, then orders of the commanding officer and all that. Okay, but this time also he became curious to know what the matter is all about, for which the people have come together. They have made a crowd in front of the bulletin board. Then, as I hurried by as fast as I could go, the blacksmith watcher who was there with his apprentice reading the bulletin called after me, "Don't go so fast, Bob. You will get to your school in plenty of time." Okay, so it's a metaphorical statement, dear students. It's a metaphorical statement. Actually, now after seeing this, when Franz was hurrying as fast as he could to the school because he was already late, the blacksmith, his name is Watcher, who said that who said who was also reading the bulletin, who addressed Franz and said, "No need to go very fast. You shall have plenty of time to reach school." It means that what he meant to say was that what will you do because by going so fast to school, because now onwards German language will be taught in this school. Your French language won't be taught anymore. So what's the use of being in a hurry to go to school? You shall have plenty of time to go to school now. Okay, so it's a metaphorical statement. I thought he was making fun of me and reached M. Hamel's little garden all out of breath, and he rushed like anything. He rushed. He literally, rushed, ran to the school to catch a glimpse of his French teacher, and then usually when school, now there is a now the unusual atmosphere of the school, of the classroom on that day has been described in this paragraph. Okay, in this paragraph the unusual atmosphere of the classroom has been described. So please pay attention to the description. Uh, Now let's continue. You see, here the narrator, that is the little the teenage boy Franz says, usually when school began there was a great bustle. Bustle means noise which could be heard out in the street. The opening and closing of desks, lessons repeated in unison, very loud, with our hands over our ears to understand better, and the teacher's great ruler rapping on the table. But now it was all so still. I had counted on the commotion to get to my desk without being seen. So, dear students, you see, the narrator, that is France, says that usually when the school began, there was a lot of noise in the school, okay, which could be even heard from the street, which could be even heard from the street. The opening and closing of desks by students, lessons were being repeated in unison. Unison means in chorus. All the boys together were repeating the lessons. So in unison means in chorus. Lessons were being repeated in chorus, then very loudly. Then our hands over our ears to understand better, because there was a lot of noise. And the teacher's great ruler. Ruler means the stick of the teacher. Teacher's stick. That was also rapping on the table. But that day it was all still, it was all silence, there was no noise, there was no bustle, there was no tapping on the desk by the teacher, there was no lesson being repeated, there was no noise at all. So the narrator Franz became absolutely stunned. He thought, what's wrong in the school today? Everything so dead silent. Let's find out. Um, but now it was all so silent. I had counted on the commotion to get to my desk without being seen, but of course, that day everything had to be as quiet as Sunday morning. Okay, like Sunday morning appeared to be very quiet, it's all closed. Sunday morning is very quiet. So, likewise, the classroom atmosphere was also as quiet as Sunday morning. Through the window, I saw my classmates already in their places. Okay, so through the window, he saw his classmates already in their places, and M. Hamel walking up and down with his terrible iron ruler under his arm. So, dear students, M. Hamel is the French teacher, okay, and he is the teacher, the language teacher of Franz, okay, of the teenage boy Franz. So, Franz is saying his French teacher M. Hamel was walking up and down with his terrible iron ruler in the classroom, right? And Franz, on entering the classroom, he had to open the door. He had to open the door and go in before everybody. You can imagine how I blushed and how frightened I was, but nothing happened. M. Hamel saw me and said very kindly, "Go to your place quickly, little Franz. We were beginning without you. Go to your place quickly, little Franz." This is what M. Hamel, the language teacher of Franz, said. "Go to your place quickly, little Franz. We were beginning without you." I jumped over the bench and sat down at my desk. Then he jumped over the bench. Franz jumped over the bench and sat down on his desk. Not till then, when I had got a little over my fright, did I see that our teacher had on his beautiful green coat. So gradually, like he jumped over the bench because he was very nervous that his teacher might scold him for being late in the classroom. That is why he was very anxious, very nervous. But when he could see that his teacher is very cool, he is not telling anything, scolding anything to him, then suddenly his tension subsided, his anxiety subsided. Okay, so when I had got a little over my fright, it means when he could somehow overcome his fear. Fright means fear. Did I see that our teacher had on his head on his beautiful green coat. Means his teacher had put on his beautiful, or the teacher had worn his beautiful green coat, his frilled shirt, and the little black silk cap, all embroidered, that he never wore except on inspection and prize days. He could see something surprising, dear students. He could see that his French teacher, that is Mr. M. Hamel, put on the green coat, okay, green coat, which was a beautiful green coat, then his frilled shirt, his designed shirt, then his little black silk cap, okay. All those he normally used to wear on inspection and prize days, but today he has worn this. That is what makes him a bit surprised, actually. Okay, so Franz became a little bit surprised on seeing his language teacher put on somewhat different attire, dress, right? Normally, he does not wear this sort of dresses. He wears this only on inspection and prize days. Besides, the whole school seemed so strange, and moreover, the whole school appeared to be so strange, so silent. Solemn means so silent, so serious. So this is what made Franz feel so very much surprised, actually. Okay, but the thing that surprised me most was to see on the back benches that were always empty, the village people sitting quietly like ourselves. Okay, the out of all the surprises, the most surprising thing that appeared to Franz was that on back benches some villagers were sitting. Some elderly people from village came and occupied the last few desks, or you can say last few benches, which normally used to remain empty. So this is what surprised Franz very much. Then old Hoser with his three-cornered hat, the former mayor, the former postmaster, and several others besides, all were there. Old was there, then former mayor, postmaster, all were seated at the back benches of the classroom. But in normal situation, these benches used to remain very empty. Okay, everybody looked sad, and Hosier had brought an old primer. Old primer means a old rod. Okay, old primer means a stick or kind of a rod type. Okay, Hosier had brought an old primer, thumb at the edges, and he held it open on his knees with his great spectacles lying across the sorry. Here Hosier had brought an old primer, means it's some sort of a book, okay, which he started reading. While I was wondering about it all, M. Hamel mounted his chair, and in the same grave and gentle tone which he had used to me, said, "My children, this is the last lesson I shall give you. Now, dear students, France's teacher, that is M. Hamel, the language teacher M. Hamel, is announcing, declaring to his children that it was his last French lesson. The warder, what is the reason? The reason is the warder has come from Berlin to teach only German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. Okay, the order has come from Berlin to teach only German languages in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. The new master comes tomorrow. This is your last French lesson. I want you to be very attentive." And then he said, this is your last French lesson. That is why I want you to be very attentive. What a thunderclap these words were to me. Oh, the wretches, that was what they had put up at the town hall. My last lesson. Why? I hardly knew how to write. I should never learn any more. I must stop there then. Oh, how sorry I was for not learning my lessons, for seeking birds' eggs or going sliding on the my books that had seemed such a nuisance a while ago, so happy to carry. My grammar and my history of the saints were old friends now that I couldn't give up. Okay, so now France started sort of mm, feeling regretful. Why do you think France started feeling regretful or started repenting? Because all these days he used to neglect his French lesson. Okay, he used to go somewhere when the language lesson was going on. He used to bunk the lessons, but now he will have no opportunity to rectify his mistake. He has no opportunity, he has no chance of making up for the mistakes that he has committed, because there is no French lesson henceforth. Only German lesson will be taught, okay, in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine in France. That is why he has started repenting for the neglect that he has made, or neglect that he has done to his language lesson. So happy to carry my grammar and my history of the saints, were old friends now that I couldn't give up. He said that suddenly he has started becoming sincere with his books, and M. Hamel too. The idea that he was going away, that I should never see him again, made me forget all about his ruler and how cranky he was. Okay, and M. Hamel, uh, the very thought in the mind of Franz that he would not be able to see M. Hamel anymore, because he was going away, that has also pained him very much. That has made Franz become so very much frustrated, right? Poor man, it was in honor of this last lesson that he had put on his fine Sunday clothes. And now Franz could realize that his teacher has put on the new unusual dress, which he normally used to wear on Sunday morning, because of this reason in the classroom today, because it is his farewell class, it is his last lesson. That is why he has put on such a beautiful costume. Now he could understand the reason as to why his teacher, this M. Hamel, has put on such a beautiful dress, such a formal dress. And now I understood why the old man of the village were sitting there in the back of the room. It was because they were sorry too that they had not gone to school more. It was their way of thanking our master for his 40 years of faithful service and of showing their respect for the country that was theirs no more. Right? So now he could also find out the reason as to why the old villagers were seated towards the and at the back on the back benches. Now he could understand the reason. These old gentlemen from the village came to pay their respect to M. Hamel, who had rendered his 40 years of faithful service to the school. So it was in honor of paying respect to M. Hamel, the French teacher, the French language teacher, that the villagers, the elderly villagers, came all the way to the school and were sitting on the back benches. Okay, so it was there. It was in honor of the French teacher, that is M. Hamel, that the old people from the village came and sat on the back benches. Okay, they wanted to pay tribute to the French teacher M. Hamel. Okay, so dear students, hopefully you understood till that particular paragraph. I shall continue in my next lesson from the subsequent paragraphs. Okay, so dear students, you please text me yes, so that I can understand that you have been with me all throughout my lesson. So please write or text me yes, just yes. Thank you, Ashutosh, Sadvika, Anand, Anam, Tanvi, Suhani, Pravash, Harshit, Bhagasri, Khushi, Nidhi, Rishu, Shraddha, Vinit, Mansi, Guneshwar, Arya, Mehak, Sanika, Bhagwati, Harshit, Utkarsh, Alma, Uday, Gaurav, Harshu, Riya, Bhagasri. Very good. Srijal. Okay, thank you all of you. Thank you so very much for being there with me all throughout. Please come to attend the class on a regular basis, dear students, because you are in class 12 now. You cannot afford to miss even a single day's class, right? And before you come on YouTube, please visit from next day, that is from tomorrow onwards, you please visit the Google Classroom app, give your attendance in the Google form, submit the form, and then come to log into the YouTube channel. Okay, before you come to log into YouTube channel, please do visit the Google Classroom, give your attendance, and then come to YouTube to watch my lecture. Right? Thank you so much. We shall meet tomorrow at the same time. That is at 9:40. Right? Sharp. Okay. Thank you. And as soon as my attendance is ready, I shall inform you on group. Please log into the Google Classroom and register your attendance today. Right? Every day you do before you come to YouTube, you give your attendance on Google Classroom. Right? Thank you so much, dear students. Bye bye. Take care.